Hello, beautiful. Welcome or welcome back to the She Glows by Glory podcast. I am your host, Shekinah Glory, and on today's episode, we get to sit down with one of my homegirls, Jessica Wilburn, as we talk about the journey back to you and what that has been like walking through this life and allowing God to lead and guide us back on track. I hope you enjoy. Always remember, like, subscribe, and share, and let's get into it.
And those who do not know her, Miss Jessica Wilburn. She is one of my closer friends that I have here in Dallas, and I can say that having her in my life has been a blessing. Um, which brings us to our topic today. Today's topic is the journey back to you. One of the reasons I picked it is because when we first met each other, we talked about our testimonies, and it just something about having someone who understands where you have been and the journey that it's taken to get to where you are now. I think that is necessary when you are trying to walk with God or walk out a purpose that God has placed in your life, like understanding how crucial knowing that it's not just you doing it. So I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself, just kind of talk a little bit, and we will jump right into it. Okay?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hi guys, my name is Jessica Wilburn. Like she said, we met
2-3 years ago,
yeah,
something like that.
and ever since then, like we've been. That's my girl. That's can I say my nig?
Yeah, yes, I don't
Okay.
care.
that's my nig. Okay. Well, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Mississippi, and I have this thing called Just Be You. So it's like just be who you are, no matter what. Just be who you are, and if you want to know more, you'll find out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing shameless plugs the next couple of weeks, so get ready to be tired of me. Anyway, uh, but yeah, no, just a little bit about our friendship. We met unofficially through Woman Evolve, and then officially again through Woman Evolve by finally meeting in Atlanta on the tour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it was
Revolution
the
tour.
Revolution tour. I was about to say on the
Yeah.
run. This is not Beyonce.
Oh my God.
This is not Beyonce. But something that I have struggled with in life just in general, in finding my way with God is feeling alone in the process. And one of the things when I thought of this conversation for us was that, there's something that happens in our lives, could be the smallest thing, but it takes us from the highway that God has us on, and we end up taking a detour. And one minute we're thinking, oh, we're just going to go see what's down here. And then the next thing you know, you are years down the road and you have not completed anything that he has told you to do, or it's taken longer. And so when you finally get yourself, like when you finally get yourself together and have that one-on-one talk, what has the journey been like for you specifically, just in letting God redefine your journey?
Wow. Wow. When I think about that, you know what? If I can be real here,
Go for it.
if I can be honest, I wish I can be like step one, step
Mm-hmm.
two, step three, but I can't because
Mm-hmm.
this is like a everyday thing.
It is.
As you get older, as you like move, as you do different things, different things come along with the journey. But for me, I think it was. I know me. I know when God, want me to do something or have told me to do something. And growing up, of course, church was all I knew, but the streets was too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, she a rapper.
no, but so like it was like you said, I was bouncing. Like it was like, okay, I'm going straight the church way, but then I go out to the detour to the streets. And so the streets is what made me get back on track. Like me, I was a party girl, I was a host, I was a party promoter, and in that life you see a lot. You see people get killed, you see people get shot, you be in dangerous situations, and yet you still asking God to save you, but you are putting yourself in those situations.
It's like sticking a hole in the boat and asking for somebody to come
To
save
feel
you.
it,
Why
yeah,
would
like
you?
you put yourself in that. So for me, it was kind of easy, honestly, for like to get back on track, because my last thing was I was at a party, And I'm like, this is my last time. I always said it was my last time, girl. I was like, this is my last time. So but for real, I was like, this is my last time. And you know what? It was my last time. It was a shootout. And in the door I went out, like people running every kind. Then the person who was shooting, the people who was shooting, came in the inside of the club and they started shooting. So it was either I stand there like a nut or I get out the way. So when I got ready to get out the way and I opened the door up, I saw the security guard. She was a lady. I saw somebody shooting her, and I saw the only thing I could remember like she was going down, and it reminded me like that could have been you. So it's just get back on track with God. Like get on the road. You done got off. And you constantly asking, "Can you save me? Can you save me? Can you save me?" And that was it.
That was him saving you. And I think the misconception is that God saving me is going to be it's going to come out, it's going to be pretty.
Yeah.
It is the most messiest thing I've ever gone through, letting him into the mess that I've created for myself.
Right. Ooh,
yeah. And so even in that situation, I think about how he put you in this place where he was like, okay, are you going to keep playing with me?
Right.
Are you going to keep playing with the mercy that I've placed on your life? Because it's been my hand keeping you this entire time. It hasn't been you. And we get so comfortable with his grace and his mercy that we start to take it for granted. And I don't ever, in this place that am now, like looking back at the 18, 19-year-old version of me, I never want to be in the place where I take that grace for granted again.
Right.
Because I think about when I was back in high school. Granted, I was not in the club, but I was a sneaky little girl. Like everyone, I don't know. It was something about, like you said, growing up in the church. I grew up with a mom who was the youth pastor, minister. Grew up, my godparents are my pastors. Like I was covered from the beginning.
Yeah.
But that not knowing, and I think that's the fruit that we all take a bite of at one point in time. But what does that life look like?
The unknown.
The unknown, like because we are so nosy about what we haven't been exposed to, we forget that there's a reason we haven't been exposed to it. For me, it was, dealing with living in a single parent home and not having the father in the house and wanting to know what love looked like. I didn't mind going and trying to find it any way that I could.
Yeah.
And that ended up putting me in places where I was the other woman.
Yeah.
And when you have a broken mindset, you think you it. I don't know. I'm gonna speak to my little girls out there. Baby, don't ever let no man make you the other woman.
Period.
Don't, because it's not worth it. You are worth so much more. And I wish this adult version of me could have spoken to that little girl who allowed that kind of stuff to happen and tell her it's not worth it. Getting in and out of relationships, dealing with different people in relationships.
When you was just talking about the little girl, you wish you can go back and like don't be the other woman, don't be this. I think and coming with like knowing your worth, but when you're so young and you don't have somebody to tell you like you're beautiful, you're loved, like you don't have to do all this, you don't have to do all these things because in my household it was always like course, people look, and this is my thing. Like people look at me and be like, "Girl, you was spoon fed. Girl, you was this." Yes, that's with material things.
Yeah,
like you said, like that love. I got love from a distance. It wasn't like close up love, I guess, because they thought like the money was gonna cover the love. Long as they buying you financially and you ain't going without, you good.
Yeah,
and that's wrong. That's where I think our generation before, like I think with us, we didn't really have that. We didn't have that. My mama didn't go to therapy.
Yeah,
My
therapy
daddy
wasn't
was,
a big thing.
like it. So if I had someone to tell me or to even show me, because it's different when you can tell me something, but at a young age, I need a role model.
Yeah,
I need somebody I can look up to. I need to actually see these things.
Yeah, I don't just want your presence. I want your presence.
Yeah.
Like I want your intangible.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy me. I want your emotions. I want your vulnerability. Like I think you and I had a conversation a couple months ago, and I told you I was like, it is harder for me to be vulnerable with people that I'm now close to because it was not something that I truly experienced when I was growing up. And so finally getting into that spot where I'm allowing myself the vulnerability to like be open about stuff. Like half the stuff I've said already today, nobody knows about that. But I mean, I've come to a place where I'm like, either I own every aspect of the life that I allowed myself to be a part of, or I'm a false witness.
Right. And that was really different for me. I could speak to people that didn't know me or to people that wasn't as close to me than I could for people who did. This is why. My people wanted me to be like, I'm so kind and I'm so nurturing and I'm so caring. So they automatically expected me to be in the medical field for caring for people and serving, which I love to do. So I put me on the back end and started doing things that people wanted me to do. So this is another way that the journey was. That's why I say like it's an everyday thing. Because when I was younger, I had so many deposits inside of me of what other people thought, what other people wanted me to do, what other people. It was always other people, and the people who like the other people is the people I love. So of course, I want to see people happy. So me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be happy. I know how to make myself happy. I'm gonna be happy, like, but I want you to be happy too. So whatever I have to do in a certain way, then I'm gonna do it so you can be happy. So they wanted me to go to nursing school. Boom, I get in nursing school, doing amazing, like in the nursing program, doing good. And then like I was in this bad relationship with the female. Since we being real here. I was in a relationship with the female, and this particular person here had other things going on. And like I said, I was the person who always put me at the back. So I dropped out of nursing school with 1 year left so they can go and complete their career. So I can stand behind them and support them in their career. And that right there was like, if only if I would have somebody to tell me when I was younger, like, you are enough. You don't need nobody. You be there for you. You support you. It's you. And then other people come, then like, cause I was drowning. Like how they say, you make sure your cup full and then you can pour. Babe, my cup was so empty.
Dry.
It was dry, like a desert dry.
Yeah.
And so that the journey is like, now that I'm older, when I could maybe I give myself 3 years that I have healed completely from that. I have healed completely from not getting enough love, not getting enough, like, a lot of stuff. Like, but it's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
It's not something that you think you'd have to heal from, or that you
Yeah.
think you'd have to go through.
Yeah.
Because, like, how was I going to put it? Like you said, the people pleasing aspect of being empathetic towards other people causes you to put yourself down.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
It's not that you're saying, oh, I'm not worth this. You're just like, oh, well, I mean, I could take care of myself later. I could take care of myself later. And unconsciously, we're telling ourselves, okay, babe, what you want doesn't really matter. These people matter most. And I think about, like, even coming into the careers that I've been in, like doing the things that I've done, going to school and whatnot. When I first went to school, I went to school because it's something that I thought I had to do. I thought that was my way of getting the approval of those that were around me. I thought it was the way that I was going to get the love that everyone so desperately wants. Like, I thought that was the way that I did it. And I love psychology. I still love psychology.
Oh wow.
I won't say I was a psych major. I got my associates in psych, and then I started my bachelor's, but I stopped. Life happens, and could not make myself go to class. Was laying in my apartment, not going to class. Call my mom, like, come get me. And like, all of this running from trying to not stay stuck at home and trying to be this person that I'm not, because at that point in time I had no idea who I was. I knew my name, I knew my social,
You know your identity.
I knew who I was as a human, but as a person I had no idea who I was. When I woke up in the middle of the day looking at myself, I could not tell you who was looking at me in the mirror. And it took getting back in relationship with God, and B, letting go of my idea of my purpose in life to allow him to show me what his purpose for my life was. Like, you can enjoy what you are doing, but understand that there is more waiting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And in that, see, people with purpose, like I tell people, like, it can be something that you like you can be doing something that you like that's not your purpose. How you really know what your purpose is, like, you're going to be passionate about it, you're going to have a drive about it, it's going to make you, and some days you don't sleep, you know, some days it have you up. For me, it's serving. For me, you know, like, I love to help. I got to be hands on. Like, I got to help somebody.
She's always helping somebody.
If I help somebody, that I think, you know, like, I've done my job. Because the thing about it, when I'm helping somebody, they're gonna get a word from the Lord. They're gonna get some encouragement. They're gonna get something
right. I'm coming out of here with something.
You're gonna leave here with something for real. Because I remember in Exodus, I think it was Moses. Yeah, Moses, when he talked about, if your presence does not go, I don't want to go. Like,
right.
Read it. Let me tell you something. Read it for yourself. But it's Exodus 35 and 33 and 15. Go read it. But it's talk about you know, like, if God is not there, I don't want to be there. So that's how I really know what, like, if I'm meant to be at a place, if it's like, if it aligned with my purpose. I always, even this, I'm gonna have to be honest here. Even though you my girl, even though, you know, I still prayed about this on my way here, because, like, I'm the type of person where I would be like, okay, I don't mind, but then when it's time to talk now, the talk especially. And I say that because growing up, like, I talk with my tongue, and I always heard people like, "Oh, you talk with your tongue. You didn't pronounce that word right." Like, you, or like, even when I move or travel, "Oh my God, you so country. Like, where are you from?" The first thing people ask me, like, "Where are you from?" Like, "Oh my, where are you from?" Because of the way I talk. And, like, on my way here, like, for real, I'm like, "Oh my God, I want to turn around so bad. I want to turn around so bad." But what some song came, Dependable God. Dependable God came on, and I sung, you know, it's kind of long. So I was singing that song on my way here, because I know that I can always depend on God whenever He put me in a situation and want me to do something that I know that it's going to line up with my purpose. Whenever God is in it, I'm good. I'm good.
And I think my thing is, well, one of my things is, I don't just ask people to be on my podcast, but asking you to come on the show was a lot for me. Like, asking the girls who are coming up after you was a lot for me. It's not that I don't know that if God tells them yes, that they wouldn't say yes, but it's allowing that vulnerability to show up. Like, because the show is my baby. Like, I'm still working out the kinks with it. I'm still figuring out where it's going and how I want the platform to be used in the future. Because this setup is only for this like, not this season, like these episodes, but the season that I'm in. Like, I know it's going to change again.
Right.
And so
it's
gonna grow. And so I'm trying to allow myself to have the capacity, and starting off with people who I am essentially comfortable with. Who I don't mind being in my space. I may not like a lot of people in my space, but who I like in my space, I like them near. I like them close, because I can have this kind of conversation with them, and it's beneficial and it's fruitful. You mentioned Moses and saying, if your presence ain't there, I don't want to go. Why, when I first started my job, I said, God, I will stay wherever you put me, because I'm not moving until you tell me to. It's like, I will not go anywhere unless you tell me to go. That I was like, I'm gonna have to be Moses in this moment. So I started out in New York. I was there for a year. More power to the New Yorkers. That I love y'all, but that's not for me. Got my transfer to Dallas in 2020. But I ended up getting furloughed. It ended up going back home for a little bit, then ended up in DC, even though I was supposed to be back in Dallas 2021. Was in Dallas, DC for a year, finally got to Dallas, and then we met.
So when did you move to Dallas?
I moved to Dallas.
What year?
Was it last year? It had to be last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was either last year or the year before, like end of like the 2020, like Yo,
Oh
it was last year.
wow.
It was last year because I only stayed in that apartment for a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, and in that, I was like, God, you knew what I needed in each of those seasons. Because
Yeah.
had I moved here earlier, I would not have had the capacity to accept who He was trying to put into my life. Just understanding that in His timing, things work out the way He expects them to. With this podcast, I started this podcast in the other apartment. Mind you, the other apartment was as big as this living room, and it was dark. Like, I have a whole lot of natural light here. Imagine you're on the backside of the woods with like two windows and no sunlight because it's on the backside of the apartment complex. I was in complete darkness, any spiritual complete darkness,
Wow.
and had to fight to show up in those moments. And some of my best gems that I've had from the first season came when I did not feel it.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that. Because us as humans, that's when we dwell the most.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we really go to that secret place. And that's what, for me, I think God speaks to me the most in those places. Not saying that He don't speak to me when I'm up high,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like in the valley low. Of
Yeah.
course, I know He good when I'm up here,
But
but
down
it's
here,
down there. Like God,
mm-hmm.
you good, God. You know, and He just come to like He just reminds me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like no matter where you are in life, I'm there. And the
Yeah.
Bible say, if you in hell, He's there. Something like that. It's a song. And it's
If
a
I make
scripture.
my bed in
In
hell,
hell,
you
He's there.
there.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So even if I make my bed in hell, He's there.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing that He's there. He's there.
Yeah, I think of the psalm where he's like, "Who are you? Who are you so mindful of us
Yeah.
that you still
Oh
love?
yes,
That you
God.
still love us?" And in just, I think about that a lot because, like, I'm like, God, like, you could have left me to my own devices a long time ago, and I know it's an attack of the enemy, so I'm speaking to anybody whoever thinks this way. If you feel like your sin has put an expiration date on His mercy for you, that's a lie.
Yeah.
His grace is sufficient enough to
Yeah.
cover all sins and iniquities, to cover all faults. Like, we may joke and kiki about the things that we've gone through because we can now sit back and be like,
And
you brought me through this. Like, baby.
like for real, because at first, no.
Yeah, because going through it is not funny.
Yeah. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is a podcast, guys, but I do have how what is your purpose? How, like, what is your
At this point in time is being light, just allowing Him to use me as a light. Not it's not something that I thought about ever because I don't like being in the forefront. I don't like being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So, like, having a setup in the house, doing a podcast, like, being a light in the time that we're in, being a voice of, hey sis, like, you're not alone, or hey bro, like, I've been there too, because I do want to have guys on the podcast eventually one day.
When you first started talking, like, well, on down the line, you started talking, and you said that you were doing your podcast in the old apartment, and that there was hardly no light, not just in your apartment, but in you. So you were doing the podcast. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You were doing the podcast in darkness, like inside and outside. So I want to give you your flowers because I know it's hard. I know it's hard to do something, and it's like you can't see the fruit of it. Like you can't seem to get out of it. And then being in an environment where you feel dark is even worse. And you know, like when you're dark and the environment is dark.
Right.
I know it says, come to me, those who are weary, and I will give you rest. I think that's in Matthew. Read your Bible, it's in there.
Don't just read your Bible, read your Bible.
Read the whole Bible, Matthew 11 and 28. It talks about that. So I know you had to like fully submit to God in those dark moments because I see the fruit. I see what you're doing. I see you growing. I see, like, from when I first met you until now, like, You doing it. You may not think you are, but you are doing it. Like this is major. So don't never look at like how this is or where you at or how things are going or even compare how somebody else has started, who's on theirs, who's not, like, because you're doing it. And it's like a lot. This is a lot to do.
Is how do you get to the root of your purpose and what you're supposed to put out on the earth? You want to go first?
I mean, it doesn't matter, but stop listening to other people is number one.
Yeah.
Get into your word of God, the Bible.
KJV, ESV, NIV, one of them, AMP, AP, AMP.
Long as you get in there.
Get into it.
But mainly, stop listening to other people. And because just because they tell you something don't mean that you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Or don't mean that you can do it.
That. And get rid of your yes men.
Yeah.
Not all yeses are good.
Yeah.
And so when you have people in your corner who only tell you yes, who only are hyping you up, who only are going to tell you to do something, they're not looking out for the pitfalls that could happen.
Yeah.
You need people in your corner who are like, hey, that sounds like a great idea, but let's think about this part, and this part, and what could happen if this doesn't fall through. Somebody who's willing to be like, okay, yeah, that is a good idea. What are the steps that you're using to work it out, walk it out? And I was about to say, yeah, you just assess the people around you. Get out of your environment.
And get out of your own way.
Get out of your own way.
A lot of times we be so stuck within ourselves that we can't even let God release what he deposited inside of us. Fear, not just fear, but it's a lot of therapy. Go to therapy. That's a big thing, because I say this because how can you find your purpose if you can't heal from the things that's hindering your purpose? You need an outlet. You need an outlet, and stop listening to people telling you what you can't do. The sun don't ask for permission to shine.
It shines
anyway.
It's gonna do what it's supposed to do. And here's the thing about purpose, no one can tell you what it is except for God.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to find your purpose by finding validation in other people, you will never find it.
You will never find it.
It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry to tell you. Most of the time your purpose is not in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
AKA, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's not in your comfort zone because God can't move where you are comfortable because you're in control.
Yeah.
You letting go of that control of being able to know the outcomes, knowing the narrative, like you have to let that go. And as far as producing the fruit, you will know you're walking in purpose when the provision comes naturally.
Yeah.
I have learned in doing this and doing photography, yes, you have to hone it, but you know when you got a good shot.
Yeah.
You know when you got a good clip. Like those things, yes, you've trained for this, but there's something that comes with it. Like once you get into your flow, when you look at a basketball player, yes, they practice, but you can tell when they've gotten into their zone because you can't tell them nothing.
And you know what? A lot of the purpose is already stored inside of you. It's just waiting, and this was maybe saying basketball, and I used to play basketball. It's already inside of you. It's just waiting on that moment for you to realize. Because Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know a plan." God put a plan inside of you. I don't want to preach on this girl podcast.
She gonna be a prophetess, y'all. Let's go.
But for real though, like a basketball player, God knew that you was gonna be a basketball player before you even became one. Number one, whenever you get that ball and you dribble, if you had a kid in this house right now and they had a basketball, never touched it a day in their life, I would be able to sit up here and tell you, oh yeah, that's gonna be a good player. Or oh, that baby need a little bit more work, and then we're gonna be able to see where it's gonna go from there.
Same with the kitchen.
And I said that because it was inside of that baby before the baby was even born. So this here, this was already inside of you. It come natural. Yeah, this is your passion. But I do know there's times where you like, I don't want to put that out there. Like I don't like this episode, or I ain't gonna put this clip. That's what we need. We need it. If it's your passion, it's okay not to be okay. It don't have to be perfect. Anything come from God, He'll make it right.
And I'm gonna put it like this also, just a tidbit. Your purpose is not for you.
Yeah.
Your purpose is not for you. Like, yes, you will benefit from it, and I want to say it the way
you see it,
the way I see it.
Yeah.
You will benefit from it, but it's not something that you will only benefit from. Something about so yeah, with that, we're gonna move into this last question that I have, because I've had her here. I've had her hostage. It says, how do you fall in love with yourself after life has been lifing?
I would have to say, and I'm gonna have to be 100% honest. Not this may not be for everybody, but this is for me. How I really fell in love with myself by reading the Bible. This is why. The Bible was telling me everything that I wanted somebody else to tell me. You're beautiful. I don't want them to tell me like you're fearfully and wonderfully made, but I want them to tell me like,
like you're valuable.
Yeah. So the Bible was telling me everything that I wanted somebody else to tell me. When life be lifing, but I know that hope is gonna come. I have to have faith, and what faith is things not. What is it?
Faith is the things hoped for, not the evidence of things that are not seen.
That's what I didn't want to mess it up. But yeah, so I have to, like, even when life is lifing, I have to have faith. I have to have hope to know that there's another day. I have to have. It's like when I'm in that Bible, it's like now. I don't care about if I don't have it.
Right.
I know that God is gonna make a way. Yes. If I can be so honest, my December life was lifing. And I ain't talking about it was hard. Yes, I smiled through the bills coming in, hitting me left and right. But it was hard. And I know when people talk about life is life, and it's mainly about finance.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we put our worth in what we see and what we do and how we show up. But first, I think you have to fall in love with yourself first, even though life lives. Because I can say, even in my darkest moments, I still love me.
Yeah.
But that's because I knew that I would get out of it.
Yeah.
I could not love myself just because I'm going through it.
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't be here. And so, speaking to anyone who's going through a moment where you feel like you don't have it in you to love yourself, get to know yourself again.
Yeah.
Through the lens of the Lord.
Yeah.
And then get to know yourself through the lens of how He sees you. Something that I encourage people to do, because I'm doing it myself, take yourself out on dates. It ain't got to be no romantic thing. Take yourself out. Get to know what you like, what you don't like. I don't like nature, but I like walking outside. It's an oxymoron. We're praying about it.
Yeah, because what's happening? What?
I don't know, but I know that when I'm outside, especially if I'm on a beach, I love being on the beach because I love looking at the water. I may not get in it, but I like watching the water and listening to the waves and that feeling of it just kind of pulling you deeper. But it's where God speaks to me the most because it's His creation, obeying His first word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obeying the very first thing. Something that my church did was a Bible study or a Sunday school where we went through all of Genesis and they broke it down. And one of the things that will never cease to amaze me is that though humanity has jacked this world up significantly, the word God put into this world is still the word that is working today.
Yeah.
Birds still fly because that is something that he put in them. Grass still grows because he spoke it. Trees still grow because he spoke it. There is nothing we can do to make the world stop doing what God has called it to do when he created it. And so I think about me. If you are the creator of the universe and you took the time to create this entire world for humanity, you think of me.
Come on, Elohim.
You think of me. Like, to not get too far onto the whole God, you were here before the world was here, but you knew who I was before you even created the world. You knew who I would be before you said, let there be.
Oh, before you even formed
formed me in the womb. Like,
womb.
you knew that the world needed me. I need you to show me.
Ordained.
Yeah. I need you to show me that in myself. And so in that prayer is where I learned to love myself, like really love myself, like not too heavy on me either. I love me. I have my moments where I'm not feeling myself, but you can never say I don't love myself.
Right. And I'm always go back to the word. I'm always go back to that Bible.
No, because I mean,
in the Bible it say, I'm paraphrasing, I lack nothing.
Yeah.
So even when life is life, and yeah, you're gonna have to love yourself, but even in loving yourself, it's some things where love can't fill in a lot of cups. So you're gonna need more than love. But I want you to know that it say, I lack nothing. And even while you looking in that mirror, that person that you love and you're loving yourself, you need to say, I
have to write it on
lack nothing. Every day, I don't care what your life can be going good, but even in those good moments, you may feel like you're missing something. I want you to know, I lack nothing. So you lack nothing.
You are whole, period. Whether you believe that or not is between you and God, but you are whole, period. He created man, period. He created woman, period. You are whole, you are enough. When he created. We thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. This was fun. I've enjoyed it. This is exactly what I wanted.
Oh, wow.
I was like, yay. Okay, but back to serious business. Please go follow her at.
This is not about me.
I don't care. You were a guest on my show.
Okay.
I'm going to plug you in.
Facebook is just Jessica. It's my first name and my last name, Wilbourn. Instagram is its Jessica Wilbourn, I think. Okay, yeah, that's all I have. Oh, well, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Like, subscribe, share, pray for your girls, because as you can tell, we need it sometimes. But also, I love you. I'm praying for you. God bless you. God keep you. Until next time, when we have my friend Tina. She coming on next. She's a good time. Now she gonna read us for filth, and that's okay. Just don't expect to have edges when we're done. Yeah. But I love you anyway. Either way, bald or not. I'll see you guys next time.